Yeah, Laurie, it's worth noting the president even called for more stringent measures like getting rid of voting by mail to be added onto the bill. But that's not currently part of the proposal that was already passed by the U.S. House and now sits with the Senate. Supporters of this legislation say they're trying to make it harder for people to illegally vote, especially if they're here illegally in the country. Opponents, though, say this is going to disenfranchise millions of Americans. Either way, this proof of citizenship bill could have some major implications on Pennsylvania elections. Registering to vote at your county election office could soon require proof of citizenship under the Save America Act.
That would be a birth certificate, or it could be a passport, or it could be a real ID card. If you don't have one of those, and millions of people don't, you're going to be out of luck.
You'll also have to show a photo ID that indicates if you are a U.S. citizen to vote in person, according to the legislation. And PennDOT says even Pennsylvania's real IDs do not prove that, so you could have to bring additional documents to prove citizenship. You'd also need to prove citizenship for absentee or mail voting.
This is a barrier for someone who's not going to have the very two specific IDs that are being required under the Save America Act.
Voting rights activist Kadita Kenner with the New Pennsylvania Project says millions of married women whose current names may not match their birth certificates would face more challenges in voting, especially if they don't have access to a passport.
Half of Americans do not have passports, or they can't afford them in this moment. $165 if I'm struggling to pay bills.
This is a necessary piece of legislation in order to make sure that your vote isn't diluted.
Conservative activist Scott Pressler has been urging Congress over social media and in person to pass the Save America Act. He argues people will have time to obtain the necessary documentation needed to vote.
We vote twice a year. I believe there's ample time that you're going to be able to secure your birth certificate, secure your marriage certificate if you've changed your name like a beautiful married woman here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Supporters of the bill, like Pennsylvania U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, point to cases like one announced in Philadelphia this month by federal prosecutors, in which they say a man illegally living in the country voted in several elections, including in 2024. McCormick says the case shows photo ID should be required every time you vote.
Just like you do when you buy a six-pack of beer, or when you give blood, or when you get married. I mean, this is when you get on an airplane. This is basic stuff.
Dickinson College President John Jones, a former federal judge, says voter fraud is rare, and the Philadelphia case does not prove there is a massive problem.
Well, it's kind of akin to, killing a fly with a howitzer, isn't it? I mean, so they found one guy.
Jones argues new requirements for voter registration could also add costs that would fall on county taxpayers. And the legislation itself, he believes, may run afoul of states' authority to run elections under the U.S. Constitution.
Congress can pass certain laws that affect that, but this may go too deeply into what used to be the purview of the states. The other area.
Now, one of the issues that President Jones brought up here is an unfunded mandate. He says that, in this case, counties in Pennsylvania would have to really be involved with some of the data sharing that the federal government wants from states. And also, there would have to be systems in place to help get rid of people who are illegally able to get registered to vote according to this legislation. So again, he says this would fall on county taxpayers to pick up the bill at some level. We'll continue to follow developments on the legislation, but for now, in our Harrisburg newsroom, Tom Lehman, News 8.